Hey guys, welcome back. Today is the day to paint the 49 Ford pickup, and then hopefully tomorrow it'll be leaving. Stopped at my buddy's shop. He has a collision shop not too far from me, about 15 minutes away. He painted his Nova and he used a satin clear or a matte clear. I don't know which one this is. I don't know if it says here what finish this is. Doesn't say, but anyways, he was giving me a couple pointers because I've never painted a whole entire car with a matte finish paint job. I've done hoods, arcade cabinets, stuff like that, striping, but never a whole entire vehicle. And we actually looked at the PPG chart because he used the PPG clear coat, and I'm using the Sims, which I've never used before. It's supposed to be equivalent. I don't know. I never used it, so I can't verify that. So while we were looking at the sheets there, and what he had told me, he says, after I put the first coat of clear on, I have to make sure that the whole entire truck is the same sheen. If you have any sort of spots that are a little bit shinier than others, let it sit longer. It has to sit until, so after the first coat, everything has to sit until everything is one uniform sheen on the vehicle. And at that point, they want you to put your second coat of clear on. And then they immediately want you to do a crosshatch pattern, which is like an X pattern, you know, with your gun. So after you spray your second coat, immediately while it is still wet, they want you to do an X pattern with the clear. And so it's gonna be a little bit tricky because I'm painting the car as one piece. He painted his Nova in pieces. I believe he did it all at the same time in the booth, but it was the car was taken apart, so it was still all cleared at the same time, so the mixture was the same, but he had more time to the second coat and then do that X coat right after he put the second coat on. So what I'm gonna have to do is, as I clear the second coat, like let's say I start on the driver's side or the bed. We'll say I start on the bed. So if I do the driver's bed, I need to spray down the driver's bed with the second coat of clear, and then I need to do the X pattern. Then I need to do the tailgate, X pattern. Passenger side of the bed, X pattern. And then work my way forward on the truck, because I have to start from the back of the truck and work my way forward, because that's the way my air movement moves in the spray booth. It goes from the intake filters to the exhaust. So the intake filters are at the back of the truck, the exhaust is at the front of the truck. So you always want to work forward. It's no different from any other painting, clear coating, single stage, anything. You always want to start from your air intake and work your way towards the fan so that your overspray is landing on areas that are not painted yet. So as you paint over them, you don't have any dull spots. So when it comes to the second coat of clear, that's going to be the really critical clear. It's going to take some time. I'm probably going to mix up 2 cups of clear so that I have them, so I don't have to stop spraying. I can kind of keep going. The truck is taped off. The engine compartment's plasticed off. I did put a piece of plastic on the dashboard just in case anything gets through the door jambs. I'm not going to open the doors. It should just blow in there and kind of die out pretty good looking in there. Between the bed and the firewall, I scuffed back as far as I could. The owner knows that. We still actually have a piece of paper on the back side of the bed. We never peeled that off when he put the bed on the truck. He's going to peel it off afterwards. So, you know, hopefully we don't get any peeling back there, but if for some reason it were to, the bed's really close to the cab. I don't think it's going to matter. This truck's going to be driven. It's not a show car. It's not a trailer queen or anything like that. It's meant to be, it's built and meant to be driven. So that's what he's going to do with it. So basically what we're going to do first is, off camera, I'm going to go and wipe this whole thing down. I'm going to blow it off one more time. I blew it off yesterday outside. I'm going to blow it off one more time with the fans on, and then I'm going to use a wax and grease remover, which is the Prepsol. I'll show it to you right now. So I'm going to be using this on the whole body. Okay, after I wipe the whole body down with this, I'm going to wipe it down a second time, and I'm going to use a window cleaner. We're going to use this spray away window cleaner. I'm going to use that for the second coat, the second wipe down. I'm not going to do that on camera. You guys have seen me wipe down paint jobs before I paint many a times. So I'm just going to save the time on the camera and do that step off camera, get it completely ready. And then what we're going to do is our first coat that we put on is not going to be color. We're going to put on a, let me grab it here, inner coat clear. So the first thing I want to do is put this on. I'm going to put this inner coat clear, blending clear on, okay? We're going to put this on the whole entire truck. What that's going to do is that's going to fill in any sanding marks that I have from the previous paint job, from me sanding it down with 320 grit. I did not go above 320 grit. I left it at 320 grit. I want to have a good bite on the new paint. What this is going to do is seal in any scratches and also make the surface feel the same from the paint to where I had to do the spot 2K primering. Because right now the 2K primering is going to be a different feeling than the body itself. So by putting this on there, we're kind of making a solid smooth surface. Basically this is really no different than me putting epoxy primer on the whole thing and making it all one solid color. I don't want to do that with this because why waste the gray that's under there? Let's use that to our advantage and not have to put as much base coat on the truck because it's already gray underneath. So once I put this on and this dries good, probably for 15-20 minutes, we're going to mix up the color, and I am going to go around the truck and I'm going to spot in all the areas that are either burned through or areas that are 2K primered. And I'm going to hit all those areas with the first coat of paint, possibly a second coat, and then we'll go over the whole vehicle with the paint itself to make sure everything's uniform and one solid color. And then after that, we'll get our first coat of clear on, let that set for 15 to 30 minutes depending on how it's drying. I'm not going to run heat. I'm just going to let it, it's 75 degrees outside. We're just going to run with that temperature. Still going to use a slow hardener, and we're just going to run with that and just let it kind of do its own thing and see how it works out. Anything else I need to say here? I don't think so. I'm just going to go ahead and get out there, get it blown off, and start wiping this thing down so that we can get this inner coat clear on, and then we'll go from there. Also, the station wagon showed up today. I worked all day outside getting the next bay ready. So in the next couple weeks, once I get this station wagon out of here, the dually, that white Chevy pearl white dually is coming over here, so we can get that finished and painted and out of here. Once that comes over to here, I can start getting that first bay prepped for concrete. I got to do a little bit more work before I'm ready for concrete, but then I can get that poured with concrete, get the walls built, and start getting that finished so that I have an assembly area, because right now this is the only spot I currently have for assembly, and it's just not enough because this is where I do my body work. This is where I do my body work. This is where I do my filler priming and painting in there. So I need this spot to just stay open for body work because I need to have 2 cars working at a time. And what that does is it gives me time for something to cure and dry between painting and primering and body work while I'm assembling another car in the other bay over there. And then there's still another bay, another big area that I'm not even going to concrete right now just because it's so expensive. I can only do it in a couple stages, and that's how it's going to have to be. But getting me one more bay for now with a back room that's going to have a sandblasting cabinet and tire machine and all that stuff is going to be a huge, huge help for me to get more projects going and get more projects done faster. Because right now, having this for body work and assembly area here, as you can see, it only holds 1 car, and then that bed's sitting back there right now. So basically this bay holds 1 car here, and I can fit a bunch of parts up there. That's all I can do right now. I can only fit 1 in here at a time. So I gotta get this thing going. So this is the station wagon that I'm gonna be doing next as soon as this truck leaves tomorrow. This is not, once again, this is not a full paint job. We are not making a show car out of this by any means. They just want a decent driver. That is it. They're not looking to build a show car here, okay? Not touching the hood. He's going to be getting a new hood. So we're not going to be messing with the paint on the hood at all. That's just going to stay as is. Don't know if I'm going to mess with the fenders right now, because if he gets a new hood, probably going to have to blend the fenders. So I think we're just going to leave those alone. I am going to do some touch up on the doors and stuff like that. You can see right here, it's kind of burned through. We have a quart of paint. He picked it up. He took the car and got it matched, and they mixed it. I have not opened it to see what it looks like. Hopefully it's a close match. But anyways, he took the windows out back here, and this is the issue with this car and all these station wagons. It was a horrible design that Oldsmobile came up with. I think this is an Oldsmobile. Came up with, that they glued in this upper window here. Okay, so when they glued this in, they used a butyl tape, and it allowed water and dirt and debris to get in here and set and just rot the body away. Look at this. So the roof is moving because this is literally rotted away right here. So I'm going to have to cut this out and remake this piece in here so that the window has a solid surface to mount to and we don't have holes in the roof. So this is going to be the hardest part. Over here, this looks way worse than it is. He thought it was worse than it was until he pulled the windows out. But this is all solid. I mean, I'm putting a lot of pressure on it. These are all solid still. There are some spots that are holes that I will cut out and weld in, like we have one here. I'll cut that out, weld it in. But as talking to him, he's totally fine with me just wire wheeling all this out of here, getting as much rust as I can out of here, putting a rust inhibitor on it to stop any more rust from happening, and then do some body work, weld in some spots that need welded in, and then we should be good to go with these areas. Because all this is, honestly, it is super solid. Even in here, it doesn't look like it, but it's double layer sheet metal, and the inner lip and everything is totally fine. No rust on the inner lip. So that's what I'm dealing with here. And then we're going to paint the roof, blend the color in the quarter panels. We'll probably clear down to the body molding here, just clear coat it to there. He does want me to mess with a little bit down here. This side's got some rust holes going on, so we'll probably end up cutting this out down here and making a new piece for down there. Maybe I'll probably touch up the top of the tailgate. But like I said, we're not going for perfection here. What we are trying to do is stop the rust. Okay, we're trying to not let it get any better, any worse than it already is. Obviously, there's only so much you can do in these cases. Luckily, I don't think, in my personal opinion, that is that bad except for the roof. The roof is shot, and that's going to suck to fix, but we'll get it fixed. This is something that we're going to get on. We're going to do it. We're going to get it done and send it on its way. We don't want this to be a month-long project. I want this in and out of here in the next 2 weeks. So if you look right here, you can see how this is good right here, this little spot. I'm going to leave that spot. Okay, I'm going to leave that spot intentionally because this little section from here to here is good still. So I'm going to leave that so I know what to work off of. So I need, so I can make the same size piece all the way around. Maybe even I'll save a little inch or two of it right here, and we'll cut out this section. And I told him he's going to have to put screws and screw these clips in when he puts his glass and trim back on. He did bring me the trim for the roof so that when I'm recreating this, I can make sure that the trim's going to fit flush in here, and the body's not kind of going like this when he puts the trim on afterwards. Not worry about side windows because those, I'm not doing major construction rebuilding of those. Just got little spots here and there to do. Like I said, it looks way worse than it is. Once I wire wheel it and put some rust inhibitor on it, to kill the rust and turn it black, it's going to look a lot better than it does. It almost looks like this car was definitely like a powder blue at one point. It was definitely a lighter blue and somebody painted it darker. So we got some cracking here, and I think this is some body filler over some lead right here. That would be my guess. And we have a little bit more going on back in this area. And once again, I'm pretty positive that's a lead seam from the factory. So once again, we'll blend the color into the quarter and we'll clear up to the moldings Same thing with this door here, and we'll probably do this door here. So we're just going to be blending in some color, fixing some rust spots. I normally, if this were a new car, I wouldn't touch it. I'd say, nope, no way, I'm not touching this thing. Because on a new car that gets driven 365 days a year in Northeast Ohio, in the sun, snow, rain, and all that stuff, this would just come back. But I think in this situation, it doesn't get driven in the winter or anything like that. I think it's going to be just fine. Old cars don't scare me like these new ones. But look on the inside lip here. See, the inside lip here on the second piece of sheet metal is perfect. Nothing wrong with it. So we're not going to go start hacking this car all apart and welding in a bunch of pointless sheet metal that I don't think it needs. Yes, it's going to have some pits in there, but it doesn't matter because we're going to kill the rust. We're going to stop the rust. We're going to prevent it from future rusting by putting epoxy primer down after we neutralize the rust and all that. These will all be epoxy primer before paint. I'm not going to go crazy in here filling in a bunch of pinholes and pits from the rust because this all gets covered by trim and window. And I think he's going to use the butyl tape. And what I've done in the past is I've used the butyl tape and also I've also used the urethane glue. So my suggestion would be to take urethane glue with your finger with a rubber glove and smear over this whole entire surface. And then if he wants to use the butyl tape so that the window comes out the right thickness, because that's an issue with these old cars, is if you don't use this old style butyl tape, it's the urethane glue will squish down farther and it won't hold the window out far enough and the trim won't fit on there correctly. So for me putting the windows in, you know, after I got it back from paint, I would, the day before, I would take window urethane adhesive with my finger and I'd run it all around this lip just to seal it all up. And then the next day I would get my butyl tape out, I would stick that to the glue, and then I put the window in. Because I don't know if you'd want to put it in the same day while the glue is wet. You might, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But all right, so that's the end of that for now. I'm going to be starting on this project tomorrow. This pickup truck should be leaving tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and get this blown off, start wiping it down, and then we're going to be ready for the inner coat clear. Okay guys, truck's been wiped down twice, blown off 3 times, tack rag. This is all the towels I went through, a lot of towels. But I think it's pretty clean. So now we're going to mix up some of the inner coat clear. We're going to put a coat on the whole truck, let that set up. And I forgot, I got to paint that front grille black. So once I get the inner coat clear on, I'm going to mix up some black paint and hit the grille area so that that all can kind of dry at the same time. And then I'll be able to tape off the grille and start putting the gray on the truck itself. I'm using my biggest mixing cup that I have. This is a 1-to-1 mix, 1 part inner coat clear, 1 part reducer. So it's a 50-50. So this cup goes up to 800 milliliters. So we're gonna fill it to 400 milliliters of the inner coat clear and then reduce it the rest of the way. If I can get the lid off. Jesus, it's stuck. So to save time on the video, I'm gonna go mix this up to 800 milliliters, 400 and 400. Okay, I was wrong on that mixture. I had to readjust. It's 2-to-1. 2 parts inner coat clear, 1 part reducer. So it's mixed up, it's stirred up, it's in the gun. I have a 1-3 tip in there currently. When I go to put the gunmetal gray metallic, we're gonna switch to a 1-5 tip. I was using a 1-3 tip, and I think that was part of my blotchiness on the color itself, was the tip was too small and it wasn't letting the metallics and everything out and flowing out more evenly. So we're gonna go with the 1-5 tip for the gray. The 1-3 is gonna be for the inner coat clear, and we're gonna use the 1-3 on the black for the front grille. Then we'll switch to a 1-5, and then we'll go back down to a 1-3 for the clear coat. So let me get my mask on. Let's go get this coat of inner coat clear on.
up some more intercoat clear in a couple minutes here. So probably as soon as I get around this front windshield. Okay, that is on. I just made it with the intercoat clear. I'm not gonna throw this mixing cup away. I'm gonna use it for the black because it's just black paint. It'll mix right in with this intercoat clear. It's not gonna hurt anything. There's no hardener in here. I'm not wearing a spray suit today. I am literally dripping sweat as it is. It's 80 degrees out there right now, and I've been in the sun all day and I'm kind of sunburned, so if I would have wore spray suit today, I'd be dripping sweat everywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix up some black. This is a 1-to-1 mix. I know I'm right on this one. So it's 50% color, 50% reducer. And we're just gonna mix up a little bit and we're gonna go get that grill blacked out. Coat. I'm gonna do one more coat off camera, and then that has to set for a good half an hour to 40 minutes. Then I can tape it off, and then we can start putting the gray on the truck itself. So I'm gonna go ahead, turn the camera off for a little while, get the next coat on, come back in about 45 minutes, tape that off. I'll probably just tape it off camera. Then we'll proceed with mixing up the gray and start putting on the gray, gunmetal gray paint. Okay, now I'm going to show you why it's so important to mix up your paint really, really well. This can has been sitting Look at all that metallic right there that I just scooped off of one of the edges. So if you do not stir this extremely well, you're going to end up with a paint that will be different if you have to go and do a touch-up, because what will happen is you're going to pull paint from the top of this can, but the bottom half still has thick paint down there. So then let's say you use half of this can and then you go back because you need to do a touch-up and you mix it. Now you've mixed that extra metallic that's down there, which changes the color of the bottom half of that can. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this really well. I do have a paint shaker. I have to change one of the springs on it. One of the springs broke on it. So I'm just mixing it by hand today with the stick, taking my time. I'm going to get it in the cup and ready to spray, and then we'll go out there and put a coat on it. This mixture is 2 parts paint, 1 part reducer, and then they want 1 ounce of hardener per quart of paint. So we're going to use just under 1 ounce because this is a 28-ounce cup. This is the hardener. 3 capfuls is 1 ounce of hardener. So we're going to probably put 2 1/4 caps, 2 1/2 caps into it, and that's going to be what we need. So 2 parts paint, 1 part reducer, 2 1/4, 2 1/2 cups of hardener. Okay, I hit all the major body spots. I'm gonna let that set for 5-10 minutes. We're gonna go out there, we're gonna start coating the whole truck. It's probably gonna take 2 to 3 coats. To me, the 1.5 tip feels a lot better. Hopefully it's not just in my head, but it feels better, and it feels like it's spraying out more evenly. So I think that is definitely going to be the way to go. Also, because this takes a hardener, this is the paint stick that I use to mix up the paint reducer in the cup. Don't stick that stick back in your gallon, because then you're going to put hardener from the stick into your gallon of paint. So make sure that you don't do that. So have a separate stick to remix your gallon than the stick you're using to mix it in the cup itself. So, all right, I'll be back in a few minutes. We're gonna start putting on the first coat of color. I am gonna run out of color halfway through the truck. I'll have to stop, mix up some more color, and then continue through. I don't do like most body shops and waste a bunch of liners and cups and stuff like that. I don't mind stopping for a minute and mix up some more because it's just base coat. If it were clear, that's a different story because we're painting the whole truck. We are gonna use 2 cups for the clear, mix up 2 full cups at a time so that as I run out, I can just simply grab the other one, take off the one, clip the other one on, and keep going. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, if you noticed, I'm not spraying like I normally would put a base coat on. I'm going quicker and I'm kind of trying to blend it. All I'm doing right now is taking this color and blending it into the color that was already on the truck. Trying to smooth out any sort of blotchiness. Plus I'm using a 1.5 tip. I'm going through a lot more material. So you got to keep that in mind. Going from 1.3 to 1.5 is a huge difference. So your gun is putting out a lot more material, which means you need to move your gun faster. If you run that gun slow with a 1.5 tip, it's gonna be blotchy. You could potentially run stuff. So you gotta, all that stuff takes an important role in how everything turns out. You have to change up your spraying with a bigger tip, the way you spray. Plus, this is not a normal paint job where I'm doing a paint job and this is the first time I've painted this truck. I am actually going over the same color and I'm just merely trying to blend the new color into the old color and get rid of any blotchiness, try to get it to be as smooth as possible. So I'm gonna do that exact same coat again on the whole truck. I'm not gonna record it. I'm gonna do it the same way that I did this coat. Just don't wanna keep recording the same process over and over. So let me get another coat on the truck. We'll let it dry for 15, 20 minutes. We'll go out there, we'll do a walk around, see what it looks like. It's very difficult to record, manage the hose, and paint at the same time. So it's not easy to do. It's a lot easier when you're only painting parts versus a whole vehicle. So it'd be nice if I had somebody here to help me with the hose at least. Bring it around the car from one side to the other. That's the biggest hiccup, is the hose. But all right, I'm gonna go put an air coat on and then I'll be back and we'll take a walk around and see what it looks like. Okay, it's been drying for about 15 minutes now. It's looking pretty good. A little bit blotchy. I don't know if that's because it's just not fully dried yet, but not bad. Probably gonna let it sit for another 15 minutes. And this clears, instructions say, put 2 medium to wet coats of clear on. Does not say to do a crosshatch, but I still probably will because I don't want to get spray lines in it. I'm going to use a 1.3 tip because it recommends either a 1.3 or a 1.4 tip. Now, how I'm going to mix this is it is 4 to 1 to 1. So we have a 1/2 pint of hardener and a 1/2 pint of reducer. So basically, this is one kit right here. This makes 48 ounces. So I'm going to use this 48 ounce mixing cup. I'm going to pour the whole quart, both of those 1/2 pints into this big one, stir it really, really well, and then I'm going to put it into these 2 cups. I'm pretty confident that I should be able to get a coat on the whole truck with one kit. I think so, because it's a 1.3 tip. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping I can. You can see how it's thick at the bottom. I've been stirring this, trying to get that all mixed up. Probably gonna have to pour it in there and do it in there so I have a little bit more room. I'm almost wondering if I should mix a second quart. I don't know, I think it's enough. So I'm gonna get this mixed up, wait about another 15 minutes. I'm not gonna mix it, the hardener and reducer yet, but I'm gonna stir this and then wait about another 15 minutes and then mix in the reducer and the hardener. And at that point, we're just gonna go for it and see what happens. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's a matte finish paint job. It's only gonna be so well. So, all right, I'm gonna stir this for a little while. I'll be back and we are going to get this thing cleared and see what it looks like. Okay, as you can see, I didn't get to the running boards because I had just enough clear to get the first coat on. So I'm gonna mix up both of the last 2 quarts. I'm not gonna record the next coat. I'm gonna do it the exact same way. I don't think I need to do a crisscross pattern with this. I'll see what this looks like. We'll look at it after this first coat dries. But I'm gonna mix up a little bit more clear, get the 2 running boards, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and mix up the rest of it so I have enough for a good solid coat on the last one. This stuff is very, very funny. It goes on really dry and really orange peely, and then I'm watching it literally just lay down. It's just flattening out, but it's coming out really thick. But I'm mixing it exactly how they have it because that's how the kit goes, and there's no other way to mix it. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix up another batch, hit those running boards, come back in about 15-20 minutes. We're gonna take a look at it, see what it looks like, and then I'll put the last coat on it, and then we'll do a walk around after that dries. Been about 5 minutes. Let's take a look and see how it looking like it's drying really, really well. It looks really uniform. Possibly a couple spray lines right there, I think I see, but I'm not going to get worried about that because my buddy said that that is just not dried yet. So if you go to put another coat on, when it looks like that, that'll stay, he said. So don't rush the process. Take your time, let it dry, let it cure out. I'm not running the heat. I'm not going to turn the heat on now because I don't need any dust or anything blowing around in here. So we're going to run with it. It's still 75 degrees in here, so we're plenty okay with our temperature. And to be honest with you, I don't really think I want to put any heat in here because it said in the instructions that the heat, baking it after you're done, could affect the shininess of the clear. So I don't know if this is going to be a little bit too shiny for him, but it is what it is. I don't think it looks bad. So you can see how this is drying out and how that running board is still shinier because I had just sprayed that 5 minutes ago. So 5 minutes, this is almost 15 minutes right here. So as it dries, it definitely seems to smooth out, and it lays out flatter as it dries, and it seems to be not too blotchy. So I think what I was doing wrong in the past on this was I was jumping on the next coat right now, you know what I mean? Because that's normally how you would do regular clear. You wait 15 minutes, as long as you could touch it and it's not coming off on your finger, you could put the next coat of clear on. And that's how I was acting with this stuff, and that's just not how this stuff works. You've got to let it fully dry, and that's what he told me. You got to make sure that all the blotchiness is out of that first coat, because that's the most important coat. Second coat, it'll lay out just like the first coat once you let the first coat set up. So I'm going to give it another 10-15 minutes. We're going to walk around it, take a look at it, and see what it looks like, and then I'll put one more coat on off camera, because like I said, it's really hard to try to run the camera by myself, move the ladder, deal with the hose, and all that stuff. So I'll do the last coat off camera. I need to unwind that hose. It's all twisted up and balled up. So once that sets in another 10 minutes, I'm going to unwind it, and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, it's been about another 15 minutes, and it's about good. It's a little bit of striping there, but I think I can get it on the next coat. I ended up mixing both quart systems, both quart setups. I'm going to have extra. I'm going to end up throwing some away, but I wanted the exact match. I didn't want to get into this last quart and only use half of it, and somehow my pour be a little bit off, and then the front of the truck's a little bit different than the back. So I am going to cross hatch this one. So basically I'm going to spray normal right to left, and then I'm going to come back on an X pattern, and I'm just going to cross hatch across the panel with the clear. But like I said, I'm not going to record it because it's going to be real hard for me to get around this truck with the hose and everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back in a little bit and we'll take a look at it. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. It's 11 o'clock at night. I am tired. I think it's going to dry really well. Looks really good. So I think by morning it should dry up pretty nicely. Laid out real good, nice and smooth, very minimal dirt. And once again, the very minimal dirt is all due to prepping and cleaning and cleaning the spray booth. As you can tell, the paper's filthy now, but it was brand new on the floor when I started. This stuff is super sticky. So is the color. The color has that hardener in it, and it's just everything's sticky. It literally just fills the filters. I mean, this is like pretty sticky. But I'm happy with it. I'll do a walk around tomorrow once I get it outside. But very, very minimal blotchiness. Very minimal. A little bit in the door right there, and I think that's the color. But, you know, you can't win them all. But I'm not going to, you know, judge that just yet. Let it dry overnight. Not going to run heat. See what it looks like in the morning. But overall, I think it looks really good, and I think he's going to be really happy with it. Maybe a touch shinier than I thought it was going to be. But that also might mellow out. You know, I don't know yet. You know, it says 16 hours cure time at 70 or 75 or 80 degrees. And then it says 30 minutes to bake at 140. But, you know, I don't know what it's going to look like in the morning. Is it going to doll up more as it dries? I don't know. But I did do the crosshatch pattern, and I sprayed it regular, and I definitely think that helps. If that's all the blotchy that there is, I think it's going to look really, really good. But I do think it's going to get in the sun, and I think it's going to die back a little bit. It's going to doll up a little bit. So hopefully you guys are liking these kind of videos. Like I said, this is leaving tomorrow. I'm starting on that station wagon. I want to have that done in the next 2 weeks. Get that out of here. Then the dually's coming over, so we can get that painted. I need to do a spray out tomorrow for the dually. And I also need to sand and primer those running boards that I did the other day, so I can get those ready for paint. Those are just getting painted black. If I have it, I'll probably just single stage black it. I'm not sure if I have it or not. I don't know, maybe I'll base coat, clear coat it. I don't know yet. But anyways, that's going to end this video, guys. This truck is pretty much done. I will, like I said, I'll do a quick walk around tomorrow when it's outside and I have it all on tape and stuff like that, just to see what it looks like. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Thanks.